Hi, Cancer. Welcome to your June 2022 General Tarot reading. It's Raina here. Well, I usually do the signs that have birthdays or solar returns in the month that I'm doing. I do them first usually. So that's the theory here. And we will see what we get here. That's the first card. Should probably put this down. You can see it better. And you will have a new moon because it'll be an early degree of Cancer. You'll have a new moon in the month of whatchamacallit, June. Oh, well, there you go. There's a fine how do you do, huh? Should I pick an additional card? Let's pick an additional card, even though I don't look at the Tower as like, oh, this is a bad card. We gotta pick another card. This is, let's see, should I pick this one? Okay, well, that's, maybe I should quit while I was ahead. Well, okay. Well, I'm definitely going to read this as a personal reading. Unless this is a business partner, because this is a card of a couple, a partner. And if you look at, okay, it's funny because I was thinking of the Devil card, and it's kind of similar with those two people, and I think they're naked too in the Devil card, but they're chained. And so I was like, for a minute, I was thinking that was what was going on. So Lover's card is about a choice. And you may have to make a choice. Now, is it going to be in June? I don't know. We're just tapping into the synchronicity of the moment. So if it resonates, awesome. If it doesn't, that's fine, because this is general and you are all living different lives, okay? So, but it's kind of fun. I call it spiritual entertainment. So look at the past position. We have the Nine of Swords. Even if you didn't know the first thing about the tarot, you would see what this card represents. Person's up in the middle of the night, in bed, hands in one's face. You can tell it's anxiety. That's what this card represents. We have the Lover's card. Now, what can be causing anxiety? There are so many things. I want to say this is sketched out. This card right here, Seven of Swords. So and the Tower card, has its own meaning. So what I feel is that there is some kind of deception with love for the people that this message is intended for, the Cancer people, okay? And this could go either way. Doesn't mean please do not send me irate messages and saying that you would never cheat. Then it isn't for you. If you're not cheating, it's not for you. It's for the people who are having extramarital affairs, having extra relationship affairs. You're seeing somebody other than your main man or woman, okay? And maybe you are racked with guilt about it. Maybe you are afraid that you're going to get caught. And it's not so much that you're afraid, you're full of guilt, you're just afraid of getting caught. Because in certain circumstances, do I think Cancer is capable of cheating? I think all signs are capable of cheating. What I believe with water signs is a lot of times it's not about the sex, it's about the emotional connection. And if you don't have it with your partner, and especially if your partner is mean to you emotionally, I feel like a Cancer person and all water signs can stray, because I think other signs, one of the reasons they might not be as prone to cheating is because they tend to be more independent. There's a real strong need for Cancer people to be connected emotionally to somebody else. And you need that other person to be able to be emotionally connected. With sex, it's a little bit of a different thing. You don't necessarily need another person for that. And so that kind of thing causes you to seek out emotional fulfillment. And yes, it can, extend to romantic situations, especially if it wasn't something that you planned. If you were just in a vulnerable state, somebody may have shown interest and things just happen. I do not condone those kinds of affairs and things like that, but I know that they exist, and I'm not here to to moralize, because I believe that being ethical is very important, but I understand that there are situational things that cause people to do things that they don't even approve of, and that may be why the Nine of Swords is there. Um, or maybe you experience this with your partner, that you suspect or that they are with somebody else. Now, I tend to think that this would be on your end, because the Lover's card is in that middle position. To me, it's almost like your responsibility. Of course, I could interpret it as this is your responsibility, or you have the freedom to decide not to participate in this. It's not like it's not a law that you have to tolerate somebody cheating. So sometimes people act like they are victims or that they don't have a choice, when they actually do have a choice. The higher message is the Four of Pentacles. Now, typically, this is a card of financial security. So, yes, at first when I saw this card, I was thinking, what in the heck would that have to do with an affair? But it could have everything to do with it, because you may be with somebody because of that financial security. That certainly is something that the typical Cancer person thinks about, that you are very desirous of having that feeling that your basic needs will be taken care of. So that might cause you to stay in a relationship that is either degrading to you because the other party is cheating, or that you're not in love with that person, or you don't respect that person. Maybe they haven't treated you well, but they are providing material security. And if you have children, then that really ups that ante, because you're not just thinking about yourself, you're thinking about your children. And typically women are the ones who are the primary caregivers, and if they have to take care of their children and they don't have a means of support, maybe they've been a stay-at-home mother, then that just complicates things even more. So I'm just laying out all those possibilities. What crosses you is the Four of Swords. So I'm reading this in a challenge position kind of way. And it can be that you haven't taken time out to really reflect upon your situation. And the cost of that can be bad judgment, can be doing things based on emotion. The swords are the intellect, they're the thought process that you have. But when it's in the challenge position, you may not be giving enough time for that. I would associate this with meditation, even. The point being that I really see more and more that the mind and the emotions that the mind is very important in how the emotions are expressed, and even just being triggered in the first place, because the mind is what makes connections within yourself about things that are happening, and then emotions are triggered as a result of that. If you're talking to somebody, Cancer, and you perceive them to be insulting you, that can trigger feelings of hurt, shame, like a humiliating kind of a feeling. And then you can feel bad about yourself, or you can feel angry towards them. And it all started with a thought. And I really recommend Eckhart Tolle. Lectures are free, they're on YouTube, just to get your head on straight, because, and we all need this. It's not just about cancer. But cancer people, the sensitivity that you can show to other people, you can double down on yourself into hypersensitivity, where you misperceive things, where you take offense where none was intended. And the reason that this is problematic is because it can trigger negative emotions that don't need to be triggered. So just like we have to have an insult level, I feel, where we understand when somebody is doing something that is detrimental to us, degrading to us, we also have to realize when we are way too sensitive and not able to see things more objectively. There's a strong subjective streak in all water signs like Cancer. What's coming in is the Page of Swords. When I was laying out these cards, I wasn't like connecting the dots, but this is hilarious in the sense of what this card represents, because this is the Spy card. Now, this would tip it over in the balance of you having suspicions about your partner cheating, and that it's very upsetting to you. But I think, because since this is the Spy card, it could even be for people who are wealthier, who have the means, that they may even be hiring a private detective, because you might be thinking to yourself, well, we talked about this, and I don't allow cheating in my relationships, and I'm going to take this person to court if I have proof that they're cheating. So in some cases where money is kind of like a big stakes thing, there might be hiring a private detective. But this, to me, when I think about it, it might even be like looking over your shoulder, feeling kind of paranoid, because you're doing this. So you have to be wary of your surroundings, because you don't want to be detected in what you're doing. But of course, if that is how you are operating, that's no way to live, right? That's no way to live. You want to live in a way where you don't have to do that, where you're living in authenticity. When you have to look behind your back, isn't it funny that this card too is the person's looking behind them? And, so anyway, the outcome is the Tower card. And the Tower card is the card, to me, ultimately the Tower is release. So the pressure builds and there's release. Now, how does that, what is the release? What does the release entail? Well, for me, the release entails that there has been some kind of revelation, or something gets found out. Let's see, what do we have going on astrologically in this month for you? We have a full moon in Sag, but it's not falling in a house that I would associate with some kind of secrets, you know what I mean, like 8th house or 12th house or something like that. It's going to be in your 6th house, which is more business-like, or, work-oriented, health-oriented. But, just by virtue of it being in Sagittarius, and Sag being about the truth can get exposed. Maybe you try everything you can, but there's no stopping what's coming. And if that's the case, I feel like if somebody gets caught doing their dirt, I feel like eventually they will look back and they will feel gratitude that that happened because it took them out of a bad situation. Maybe in the interim, it's quite messy, and the person feels like they don't have this sense of control over their situation. But in the long run, they may feel that um, it was for the best. Okay. And another thing that can happen is that, and this is always kind of funny. I mean, not really funny, humorous, but kind of strange and interesting, is that sometimes when you're trying to decide whether or not to tell someone that you're having an affair or that you want to leave, they beat you to the punch. And then you're like, whoa, wait a second, I was supposed to be the one that left. And then all of a sudden you get blindsided by that. And it's kind of, I was going to say poetic justice in a sense, because that other person has the upper hand in the sense that they kind of do you one better, and you can't, be the one to pull the plug. But let's look at the clarification card. Yeah, I mean, with this card, it could be that you find out that your partner's cheating while you're cheating too. Now, sometimes this card can also mean that you are able to leave a situation in a very discreet manner because something happens that either is a distraction from everything else, and so your relationship is distracted by another event, or if it has something to do with a third party situation, okay, you can be the bad guy, but it's almost better to be the bad guy who is the scumbag cheater than the person who is just kicking that person to the curb unapologetically. I know that probably doesn't sound right, but if you're the one that's being left, you might still feel pain either way, but it's like you allow yourself to take kind of that the brunt of the criticism, but you get to escape. And it's just like messy right now, but in the long run you might feel quite good about it. And as many of you may know, Pluto has been in that seventh house of committed partnership for the past 14 years. Now, for your chart, it might be a little bit different. And it's going into Aquarius next March. So this is kind of that finale. It is going to go back into Aquarius because it's retrograding and all that stuff. But still, it's like really kind of concentrating all of its lessons and karma and transformation in those final degrees. And so some people who may have been kind of like, okay, when is this Pluto energy going to affect my seventh house? You may go, oh, okay, so that was what was going on. Okay. So anyway, the bottom line is, you can have your freedom. It may be a little bit messy in the interim, but just hold fast, and things may really improve in the next few months, after the dust settles. All right, that's what I have for you, Cancer. I hope that you resonated with this. If you would like a personal reading, I'm primarily an astrologer, and I have special double readings that are discounted in price. I also have standalone readings. You can find out all that information at the link below. I'm at RainaMoonAstrology.com. Take care. Bye.